session of the day on the topic Road to Recovery, Rebooting Gujarat's Residential Realty. The session will be chaired by Mr. Santosh Kumar, Vice Chairman, Anarok Property Consultants Private Limited. Mr. Santosh Kumar was closely involved in the merger of JLL and Trammell Crowe Meghraj, which created, at that point of time, the largest international real estate consultancy in India. He is an associate of Institute of Cost and Works Accountants of India, member of the Real Estate Committee of the Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce of India, and member of the Indian Cancer Research Society. I welcome Mr. Santosh Kumar as the moderator of this very first discussion of the day. Let me also introduce our speakers in an alphabetical order. I welcome Mr. Kamal Singhal, MD and CEO, Arvind Smart Spaces Limited. Mr. Kamal Singhal holds an executive postgraduate diploma in management from the IIM Indore. He has been associated with the Lal Bhai Group since 2001 in various capacities. He is responsible for giving strategic direction to the real estate business and also identifying new business opportunities and to further expand the product portfolio of the real estate business. Our next eminent speaker, I introduce Mr. N.K. Patel, Founder Director and Group Chairman, Sun Builders Group. Now, Sun Builders Group was founded by Mr. N.K. Patel in 1981, and it focuses on combining the strengths of people to produce high-performing teams ready to build great things. N.K. Patel is a gold medalist postgraduate in urban planning from CEPT, and he served in the Gujarat government's town planning department and also worked as town planner at the Ahmedabad's Urban Development Authority for nearly 17 years. Currently, he is the chairman of NAREDCO Gujarat chapter, and he is also former president of the Gujarat Institute of Civil Engineers and Architects. Our next eminent panel member, I introduce Mr. Paras Pandit, chairman and managing director, Sheetal Infrastructure. Mr. Paras Pandit is an experienced real estate business owner and a strong business development professional with demonstrated history of working in the real estate industry since 15 years. He is skilled in companies' day-to-day operation with a focus on land acquisition, business and corporate strategy, development and implementation, as well as business networking. Our next panel member joining us is Mr. Pawan Bakheri, Managing Director, Bakheri Group. A master's graduate in engineering from MIT, USA, Pawan Bakheri has over 2 decades of experience in real estate development in India. He is also a co-founder of Ideal Choice Homes, a precast concrete solutions company, and has co-founded ventures like Z-Axis, manufacturing drones, cloud computing company FX Data Labs, and virtual reality company Original Dimension, as well as Intellimet Technologies, a nanotechnology venture, and Artemis Castones involved an IP-based process using quarry dust. So entrepreneur with varied experience among us. Now let me introduce our final panel member of this session, Mr. Rocky Israni, Managing Director, Pacifica Companies. Rocky Israni is responsible for the development of all real estate projects for Pacifica Companies in India. He has led the group to expand in various cities across the country and has made sure that each project operates in accordance with local requirements and expectations. A well-respected face in the Indian real estate scenario, Mr. Israni brings forward a rich experience of 2 decades in the industry across the United States and India. So this was our eminent panel for this discussion. I now request our moderator to please take over the proceeding.
Thank you, Sapna, for the introduction. This is a fantastic session being conducted by Realty Plus. First of all, before I start this session, let me first, wish and congratulate Realty Plus for their 17th anniversary. For the last 17 years, Realty Plus is contributing a phenomenal, contribution to the real estate industry, more particularly to the developer and consumer fraternity on the real estate side. I know we have got a very eminent panel. Really, it's a delight to interact and discuss about the current scenario on the real estate side. Many of these speakers are named by themselves in their specific field as well as in their geographies. So I'll be very delighted. So before I start the session, let me set the context for our discussion. The last 18 months, I would say, India and the globe is crippled by pandemic, and everything is on standstill. But in the last, few months, post, first wave or the second wave, the global recovery has started, coming back to the normal. The new normal has also changed. And also, the GDP of the global economy is also started to project around 5.5%. So we'll see a speedy recovery for many of the sectors. And that also contributed global recovery for the real estate. In many of the emerging countries, what we are seeing is that residential real estate is picking up. In many of the countries, the data shows that it has picked up very strongly. The recovery was very, very strong. And we are witnessing the similar change in India as well. Even though the volume, which was there at the peak, which was around 2011, we are not seeing that kind of numbers coming up. But definitely what we have seen is the recovery was fast in the last 3-4 months. And this was what we have witnessed even after the first wave of pandemic. And also, we have seen the various asset classes of the real estate are behaving in a different manner. Residential has really, picked up. Office segment is little slow. Retail and hospitality is battling. The logistic and industrial is showing a great amount of sign of becoming a very strong assets class in India. The Gujarat is no difference. The Ahmedabad is no difference. I think Gujarat has been one of the dominant real estate geography in India, and it has witnessed a rapid growth in the last few years. Residential segment, even in Ahmedabad and some of the other geographies in Gujarat, has been playing a very dominant role. For that, there are various reasons. I think there are economic drivers within Gujarat. Sorry. Yeah, there are various sectors. There are various industries like, we have petrochemical, pharmaceutical, textile, your jewelries, gem and jewelries, food processing are some of the key drivers. And also there has been, post-RERA, there has been local level regulatory changes. What we have seen is that the extra FSI, usages which has been, freed up by the government. These has given impetus to the real estate industry, even in the local level. On that background, we will start our discussion. I think we got a very eminent panel to discuss these aspects. Maybe I will start with Kamal. Kamal, has got presence in both Ahmedabad and Bangalore, on the residential side. Maybe Kamal, you may kickstart this discussion. What are some of the changes you have seen, post first wave and the second wave, and for most of the assets classes of real estate? Maybe you can start from you, Kamal.
Sure. Thank you. And I apologize for some problem that is going on right now in my video. But nevertheless, I think I can be heard properly. Is that right? Am I audible properly?
Yeah. Kamal.
Great. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much, everybody, and especially Realty Plus for giving me this opportunity to interact with some of the best leaders in our industry. As you said, first wave and second wave, definitely it has impacted the nation as a whole. I mean, forget about real estate per se, but I think there is no sector which has remained untouched. But the good news is that, after first wave, initial impressions were that it's going to be something which will be very difficult to tide over. However, by the middle of first wave, it became very apparent that while there has been an impact, it might not be a negative impact in terms of absolute business and its volumes and its numbers. More of the segmental issue came up. The change in segment happened more clearly, more visibly than the volumes or the business per se. So what I'm trying to say here is that the consumer preferences and the segments changed dramatically. For example, residential real estate, which we basically do most of our business on, changed dramatically from being an investor-driven market to it became more like a consumer-driven market, from being a very vertical-oriented market to a very horizontal market. So we see a lot of horizontal developments now being preferred, a lot of horizontal developments coming around the city, in the peripheries, etc. And people find it more convenient to invest in those kind of projects rather than buying in houses or the apartments per se. So that's a very clear trend that I am seeing post wave one, and the same trend has been continued post the wave two as well. So the houses are mainly being bought for end consumption, and the rest of it, end consumption plus investment demand, is going towards the peripheries in horizontal developments. That's one trend I can very, very clearly see.
Okay. Great, Kamal. I think this is same, what we are seeing in other markets as well. Maybe post first wave, what we had seen in some of the markets, especially in the northern Indian market, the demand for the vertical, buildings have gone down. But again, the demand for the, apartments or the high rises started coming back in northern market of India. What also we are seeing, there's a huge demand for plotted development as well in some of the market. Maybe Rocky, since you have presence in South India and Gujarat, Rocky. So are you seeing the similar kind of attraction in your projects in Hyderabad, Chennai, and Ahmedabad, Rocky?
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me on this panel. I really appreciate it. Congratulations to Realty Plus for their 17th anniversary. So, Santosh, you're absolutely correct. And Kamal is right bang on. And I see Arvind launching a lot of farmhouse projects and plotted development projects. So obviously, they're seeing demand. And that's the perfect thing to do, is cater to the demand. So I'm seeing across the country, this trend is continuing, that people want to do horizontal developments more now after COVID. And they don't mind going a little further away from the city, because this whole social distancing and COVID scare, that this happens more when you are in more proximity with people. So obviously you don't want to be in multi-story high-rise buildings. You want to. So even these people who are buying these farmhouse schemes or villas or bungalows in the tertiary and the peripheries of the cities, they might not make their primary home, currently. They just want an alternative or one option to have apart from their house in a city. This is the trend that I'm seeing.
Yeah, but Rocky, many of the IT companies, especially in Mumbai, Hyderabad, where you have got Bangalore, Hyderabad, Chennai, where majority of the IT populations works. The customers' behavior, how these, customers or consumers, what we are seeing, there has been a change, or there has been a shift in their mindset, Rocky. These guys are now they do not want to come to their office. I do not want to get into that work from home concept detail. But we are seeing, people does not want to come into their offices. They wanted to work from, closer to their homes, or maybe a co-working space which is nearer to the home. From that perspective, definitely this, peripheral concept of developing a home has becoming a viable options. But is it going to impact your city kind of a development?
So we are living in a new world. Everybody understands this. New world is post-COVID. Now, is this COVID going to last forever? I don't know. But definitely the CBD concept, we haven't heard CBD in the last 18 months, right? Nobody has heard CBD. Central business districts have become a kind of oxymoron. Why do I need to be in a crowded place where I can work from home? I can find a co-working space near my house. Why do I need to buy an expensive house in the CBD, close to the CBD? So all these things are being talked about. But, once this COVID goes away, I think maybe, I don't know, 10%, 20% of the workforce might continue to work from home in the IT business, ITES business. But that is not applicable to every industry. Santosh, if you didn't come and meet me, we wouldn't be doing business, right? Meaning it's like that. It's most of the businesses are not virtual. They are physical. Networking is physical. The conferences, we are doing a virtual conference, right? This is not going to continue forever, right? In the next year or so, Realty Plus will have to switch to a physical conclave where people come and mingle with each other. We host cocktails, we host dinners. That's what human beings were built for. We're social animals. We're not virtual animals. So the world will have to come back to normalcy whenever. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a center of disease control guy, but someday it'll have to come back to normal. And some portion of this will completely change. It's like before Swiggy and Zomato, we didn't know somebody would deliver, right? We would call a restaurant to deliver. So they disrupted our habit. Now, this COVID will continuously change some lifestyle, or IT companies' percentage of people working from home who don't have to interact with the rest of the world, who don't have to interact with their own teams, will become offsite. That will happen. Will that change the complete real estate dynamics? I don't think so. It will impact a little bit, but then the demand of the subsequent years will cope up, and it'll still, absorption will happen of the new product that is being built.
I agree with you, Rocky. I think the new normal, maybe partially it may remain, and most of the things are going to get normal. When we interact with some of the industry leaders, especially with the IT companies, they wanted their workforce to come back to their office as early as possible. And I think, you would have seen how the Google has made the announcement. And similarly, some of the Indian corporates are also thinking of developing new mechanism to attract the workforce to come into the offices. Though, at this moment, yeah, Rocky.
Currently, we don't blame them, because if these companies called their employees and if they were the super spreaders of COVID, then they would be blamed for it, and they don't want to take the risk with the human lives or with their employees' well-being. So they're sticking to that, so to say, protocol, saying that, hey, work from home. But when this COVID goes away, will they maintain this? I have my doubts. I would want my people to come and work in the same building where I can, meet with them one-on-one, interact with them. I'd have better productivity, but that's my thought.
Okay, thanks, Rocky. Parasji, आप मुझे मालूम है आप you are very interested in innovations. पारस जी, आपका जो है प्रोडक्ट जो है जब भी आता है कुछ नया यूनिकनेस होता है पारस जी. तो ये पैंडेमिक के बाद लोगों का जो है प्रेफरेंसेस बहुत बदल गया है. कुछ लोग जो है एक्स्ट्रा रूम्स चाहते हैं, कुछ जो है नया एमिनिटीज चाहते हैं, because people have become much more concerned now about their health. So considering those aspect, पारस जी, आप अपना आगे आने वाला जो डेवलपमेंट है उसमें क्या क्या बदलाव लेकर आना चाहते हैं, एंड उसके लिए आप क्या सोच रहे हैं?
सबसे पहले तो मैं रियलिटी प्लस को उनका 17 साल का बधाई देना चाहता हूं, और संतोष जी आपको और सभी जो भी मेरे पैनलिस्ट है उनको मैं थैंक यू कहना चाहता हूं कि ये पैनल में शामिल किया। हम लोगों ने एक नया दुनिया देखा है संतोष जी। ये बोले तो 2020 मार्च के बाद जो हम बात करते थे और मई और जून में जो हम बात करते थे कि इंडिया का क्या होगा, वर्ल्ड का क्या होगा, रियल एस्टेट का क्या होगा, लोगों की रोजी का क्या होगा, बड़े बड़े जो खर्चों का क्या होगा, खर्चे पूरे कैसे होंगे, ये सवालों पे जो है पहले कॉन्क्लेव चला करते थे। ये पिछले 1 से 1.5 साल ने पूरे वर्ल्ड को इतना अलग तरीके से प्रेजेंट किया है। हम देखने जाएं कि रियल एस्टेट, हमने अहमदाबाद में कभी नहीं सोचा था कि हम लोग 6 और 12 करोड़ के अपार्टमेंट की बात करेंगे। ये हमारे लिए ये 1.5 साल में एक नई बात आई है। दूसरी सबसे बड़ी बात हम देखने जाएं कि सिटी से 15-20 किलोमीटर तक जो है वो फार्म हाउसेस बोले जाते थे, यानी 15-20 किलोमीटर तक जो है वो फार्म की बात होती थी। अब 15-20 किलोमीटर तक फर्स्ट होम की बात होने लगी है। यानी जैसे हम बात करें कमल भाई की, जब कमल भाई ने प्रोजेक्ट चालू किया था तो उन्होंने इसको सेकंड और थर्ड होम के बेस पे चालू किया था। उनका अरविंद जो है फर्स्ट होम के बेस पे यूज होने लगा है। तो आज कोई भी बिजनेसमैन है वो अपनी कंफर्ट जगह चुनता है और वहां पे बैठ के अपना बिजनेस भी कर रहा है, अपना फैमिली टाइम भी फैमिली को पूरा दे रहा है। तो एक ये अलग ही दुनिया, वर्चुअल दुनिया चालू हो गई है। कमल भाई और हमारी बीच में एक बात हुई कि कमल भाई आप ऑफिस अहमदाबाद आ रहे हो कि नहीं आ रहे हो। कमल भाई पिछले 1.5 साल से अपने अरविंद वाले प्रोजेक्ट पे रह रहे हैं और वहीं से ही ऑफिस उतना ही और डबल बढ़िया चला रहे हैं, फेज 1 फेज 2 चला रहे हैं। तो ये जान के बहुत खुशी होती है जितने भी मेरे डेवलपर मित्र हैं। अब हम बात करें कि आज का जो रियल एस्टेट है वो इतना लग्जरी एड ऑन हो गया है कि जैसे कि हमारे प्रोजेक्ट की बात करें कि एक प्रोजेक्ट हम आंबली में ला रहे हैं। हम लोग अहमदाबाद और गुजरात में 4000 स्क्वायर फीट पे हम लोग काफी सालों तक रुके रहे। पिछले 1.5 साल में ये डबल स्क्वायर फीट पे आ गया। यानी कस्टमर जो है वो हमसे डिमांड कर रहा है कि आपके पास 6000 स्क्वायर फीट से ऊपर के अपार्टमेंट हैं। उनकी पॉकेट जो है आज इन्होंने इतनी फ्री करी हुई है कि इनको जो है एक घर में अपना ऑफिस चाहिए, एक घर में अपना जिम चाहिए, एक घर में अपना होम थिएटर चाहिए। यानी इनको फैमिली टाइम भी अपने घर में चाहिए, इनको ऑफिस टाइम भी अपने घर में चाहिए। तो ये 1.5 साल में आफ्टर कोविड हमने देखा है कि लग्जरी सेगमेंट जो है ये काफी बूम हुआ है। और इसमें देखने जाएं तो जो फैसिलिटीज हम क्लब हाउस में और फार्म हाउस में सोचा करते थे, आज कस्टमर डिमांड कर रहा है कि उसके वो फर्स्ट होम में हो। संतोष जी।
हाँ जी, तो परस भाई, नहीं बात आप जो कह रहे हो परस भाई सही कह रहे हो कि जो लोगों का जो प्रेफरेंसेस है आप जो है बड़े घरों में हो गई है। लोग एक्स्ट्रा रूम्स चाहते हैं, उसमें ऑफिस भी चाहते हैं ताकि वो जो वर्क फ्रॉम होम का भी कंसेप्ट जो है उसमें चला सके। लोगों का जो है फैसिलिटीज जो है ज्यादा से ज्यादा उनके एक्सपेक्टेशन बढ़ती जा रही है। हर एक डेवलपर्स को मेरे ख्याल से आगे जाते हुए जो है ये फैसिलिटीज के ऊपर ध्यान देना पड़ेगा, चाहे वो वहाँ पे कोई ना कोई क्लिनिक का फैसिलिटीज हो, कोई एंड उसके अंदर जो है कोई एम्बुलेंसेस का भी फैसिलिटीज हो, क्योंकि ये बढ़ती जा रही है जहाँ भी जब भी होगा। क्योंकि ये हम लोग जो रह रहे हैं नया नॉर्मल के साथ साथ रह रहे हैं, तो उसी तरफ से एक्सपेक्टेशंस पारस भाई बढ़ती जाएगी। एंड लोगों में जो है आज के दिन में मुझे नहीं लगता है कि जिस तरीके से जब सेकेंड वेव खत्म हुआ उसके बाद जो लग्जरी सेगमेंट पे जो डिमांड आई है एंड लोगों ने जिस तरीके से बाई करना शुरू किया है, विच रियली गिव्स द कॉन्फिडेंस कि कि अब जो आगे भी जाके जो है जो एक मतलब आप 2 साल पहले अगर देखते थे कोई भी डेवलपर लग्जरी या हाई लेवल का हाई सेगमेंट में हिम्मत नहीं करना चाहता था कि डेवलप करने के लिए, बट आज वो सिनेरियो फिर से चेंज हो गया है। डेवलपर से दोबारा से जो उसके ऊपर फोकस करने लग गए हैं। पटेल साहब, आप टाउन प्लानर रहे हैं। पटेल साहब अभी बहुत सारा आपकी जो है प्रोजेक्ट्स जो है आप अलग तरीके से मार्केटिंग करते हैं। पटेल साहब, your style of selling the project, and you have been a master, and you have developed some of the quality development under Sun Group. So I got 2 questions to you, Patel Saab. एक तो जो है one, because of your past experience being a town planner. एक जो है गुजरात में सर अभी जो है ऑक्शंस हो रही थी प्लॉटेड कुछ प्लॉट्स की, अचानक जो है उसको जो है अहमदाबाद म्युनिसिपल अथॉरिटी ने उसको होल्ड कर दिया। तो क्या रीजन है? एक तो जो है ये प्लॉट्स को जो ऑक्शन करना रोक दिया गया है। दूसरी जो है पटेल साहब जो पोस्ट कोविड जो है हम लोग देख रहे हैं बहुत सारा जो है प्रेफरेंस जो है कस्टमर के टाउनशिप डेवलपमेंट के अंदर जा रहा है। डेवलपर्स भी टाउनशिप डेवलपमेंट में ज्यादा इंटरेस्ट दिखा रहे हैं एज अगेंस्ट स्मॉलर डेवलपमेंट या इंडिपेंडेंट डेवलपमेंट। कंसिडरिंग ये डिमांड जो आ रही है टाउनशिप डेवलपमेंट में, तो अथॉरिटीज इसके लिए किस तरीके से अप्रोच कर रहे हैं कि ये टाउनशिप डेवलपमेंट में क्या कोई रिलैक्सेशन दे रहे हैं कि टाउनशिप डेवलपमेंट ज्यादा से ज्यादा आ जाए? एंड अगर आपकी एक्सपीरियंस देखा जाए, आपको क्या लगता है सर आगे आने वाला दिनों में आप क्या रियल एस्टेट में क्या क्या चेंजेस देख रहे हो आप?
Thank you, Santosh. First thing about the auction which has been stalled by the Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation.
Yeah.
Basically, they found that their basic prices are little high. And second thing, if I talk about Ahmedabad, the last second wave of pandemic was more severe in Ahmedabad, and due to that, it was an impact in last 3-4 months for getting a new project. So it was a sole decision of Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation to reduce the basic prices and to go after 1 or 2 quarters for the auction of the plot. Now, second thing about the township. As we all are aware that, particularly Ahmedabad or any Gujarat city, there is no geographical constraint, which is there in Mumbai or in other, if you talk about NCR Delhi, then it is a jurisdiction constraint. But in Ahmedabad, there is no such constraint. So the township which Arvind has proposed some 6-7 years before, or Santigram, they are picking up. So basically, if you want to make a township, it is away from at least Ring Road 2 to 3 kilometers away. And as per the existing sanctioned development plan, all such land is in agriculture zone. So the buyer can amalgamate at least more than 3 lakh square meter to 5 lakh square meter of land. But unfortunately, government of Gujarat has stopped sanctioning new township. But in last 2 weeks, one of the township, which is on a ring road, Sardar Patel ring road, has been proposed by Nirma House. So people, after pandemic, after new normal, people don't want to go for a smaller optimum houses, right? So from the central, there may be various lucrativeness in a central city. But now people don't attract by that lucrativeness or being more virtual, being more digital. So they don't want to stay near their workplace. So they want a shelter in a new normal condition. So I think Kamalji also will agree that their sales in last 18 months of Arvind Apne has been gone like anything. So similar is a case with Ganesh. They are coming up with a very good township. Similar is a case with Shantigram also. So now we are happy that recently they have started giving permission to the township. And as per my knowledge, they are also in a process of chalking down few different criteria. Nowadays, if you want to amalgamate some 5 lakh square meter of land, you have to go some 8, 10, 12 kilometers away. And then you are adding the sprawl in the city. Instead of a smartness, you are adding a sprawl of the city, and which costs the physical and social infrastructure to the government also. So they are trying to reduce the size of the township. They are also trying to put more smaller work centers. Like in IT, most of the companies have allowed work from home. But in most of the cases, the culture of office culture one can find at their apartment. So there is another way. Instead of a one CBD, there will be a satellite CBD, and where such service sector or IT company will have their small offices, and which will be very near from such township also. Santosh.
Yeah. And no, this is quite interesting, Patel Saab. Even when we see Haryana or Noida, they have also relaxed. Many of the local bodies have relaxed the norm for township development. Like earlier, Gurgaon had 100 acres was the minimum requirement. Yeah. Now it has been reduced to 10 acres. In order to encourage, because the pandemic has taught everyone that safety, security, and health is more important, and they do want these townships to be developed nearer the hospitals, where the peoples can be taken care of. So that is, I think, made convince the authorities to reduce the size from 100 acres to 10 acres, Patel Saab. So, yes. Yeah. So, Pawanji, I'll come back to you on the construction cost. You're also one of the reputed developer. You have developed many projects in Ahmedabad and in Gujarat. Recently what we have seen, there has been a increase in the raw material cost or the input cost of the construction, because of which everyone feared that the final cost, the sales price are going to go up. And many of the developer or the bodies, the CREDAI they have decided that, it is imminent for the developers to increase the prices of the residences. So, but you have also seen that the demand is not that, so rapid or, so significantly high, Pawanji. Considering that, the dilemma of the cost and the sale, how do you see and how do you place yourself in this scenario? Do you favor the proposition of increasing the price? Do you see that if you increase the price, the demand for the residences are going down?
Well, first of all, thank you VIP Plus for hosting this panel and also for completing your very happy 17th birthday anniversary. And thank you, Santoshi, for moderating this session. Concerning your question about inflation eating into affordable housing projects, already wafer thin margins, absolutely very right. It's a very big challenge. We have seen steel prices and cement prices going through the roof, and also labor. And unfortunately, the customer is unwilling to bear the entire cost of this increase. So one would have to be, doing this psychologically, absolutely for new projects to also become viable. one would have to increase prices, but one would have to do them, do this increase gradually. If we have actually seen 10 to 15% increase in our costs, construction costs, only the last 6-7 months. If we increase rates all of a sudden, that's going to put a sudden brake on the sales, because the end user is still middle income, lower middle, middle and upper middle customer. And that person is not going to be able to accept this sudden rise. So one would have to do this gradually, but one will have to do it.
Yeah, but what would be your strategy, Pawanji? What would you like to do in this scenario?
So we would probably, unfortunately, this might, especially on labor front, we would probably see a migration towards technology adoption.
Yeah.
And I think that because of the lowering of the interest rates and the increasing labor rates, the inflection point is not far off when making an investment upfront in the capital cost of equipment rather than employ more labor, may happen soon. I think that inflection point before the pandemic was probably 10, 15 years off, and now it could be under 10 years.
Yeah.
Or maybe 5 years. I don't know. Yeah. Some aspects we'll have to automate those using technology in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
So we would have to do that. And also, I think as a body, developers would probably have to get together and have a common platform for buying material in bulk, so construction material in bulk. I think that also might be a way to go.
Yeah, I think technology is going to be the solution, Pawanji, and also equally, I think change of doing the business. I think earlier, especially in Ahmedabad market, the developer used to buy the land, which are very, very expensive in some of the pockets, and with the local laws, it becomes sometimes very difficult to develop a viable proposition or viable product which suits the pockets of the customers. So maybe JD or DM model could be one of the solutions to keep the prices in control. Kamal, coming back to you, Kamal, again, from, this is an extension of the question which I put to Pawanji, considering the cost escalation. Kamal, you have been, doing a lot of projects, and there is what we have seen, there is a 20-25% increase in the input cost. Do you see, traditionally Ahmedabad, mostly developer are, developing their real estate on their own land parcels. But do you think that the new trend emerging in Gujarat and Ahmedabad?
Yeah, I mean, traditionally, yes, a lot of development used to happen on the old land parcels, which were legacy parcels held by the families. But eventually what happens is, that kind of land will obviously have a very limited supply, and someday it has to change. As the markets mature, be it Ahmedabad or any other place, for example, maybe on the real estate curve, Bangalore is a couple of notches above Ahmedabad. And today we don't see much of a development happening in Bangalore, which is done because somebody held the land traditionally. That's not the case there. And I think Ahmedabad is moving in that direction, especially after RERA. There is a sea change in this. Not everybody who has a land can develop and take all the onus of compliances and other regulatory issues that you can start development and be profitable and make money out of it. Now, one has to be an expert, one has to have some USP, one has to have those capabilities to develop rather than land being the only capability. So that's going to change, and that dynamic is changing in Ahmedabad for sure in a very dramatic way. And that's why we see more of organized developers, more of developers who have systems which back them, are people who have organized money which they can bring in from various formal sectors of money availability, etc. I think they are the guys who will be calling more shots going forward. This trend is definitely happening in Ahmedabad, and we clearly see this trend in more mature markets like Mumbai or Bangalore. Bangalore, we clearly have an experience where we've seen that this has already happened to a fairly large extent, and this has to happen in Ahmedabad also. Already it has happened or started happening, and this will further consolidate.
Yeah, and also Kamal, especially in Ahmedabad, the commercial market used to be very strong. There are developers who are only focusing on commercial development, and they used to sell it to the investors fraternity. But now post-pandemic, again, commercial is not that strong. The demand for the commercial product has gone down in majority of the markets, most of the other markets. Do you see, many of the developers who are focusing on commercial development are shifting their, model to residential or any other assets classes?
Yeah, Ahmedabad, I mean, all said and done, Ahmedabad, a lot of development has happened in commercial space. But Ahmedabad still has that one missing link of IT and ITES sector, which still is not as strong as one would have liked. I mean, Bangalore is at a very different scale. Pune is at a very, very, very different scale. Or even Hyderabad is on a very different scale. I mean, Gurgaon is a different story. Mumbai outskirts are a different story. So I think we have definitely got a missing link here, and Ahmedabad, to that extent, can't expect to keep adding commercial spaces like these other cities, which are primarily driven by IT, ITES sectors, etc. So far it's been okay, and we've been doing this in Ahmedabad, and there were enough investors. But I think investor segment is now also, if I may use the word Rocky used earlier, maybe Rocky used something called the inflection point. There's an inflection point here for investors in commercial real estate in Ahmedabad. Unless and until IT, ITES really clicks in Ahmedabad, I don't see any significant movement there happening. But yeah, I mean, the average volume will continue. And that's what the expectation is.
Okay, thanks Kamal, highlighting on the commercial. Paras ji, अभी पिछले कुछ दिनों से जो है this residential market has not seen the investors. Investors were out of the residential market, and it was completely end user driven market. जो भी कस्टमर्स थे वो एंड यूजर्स थे. तो अभी जो है कस्टमर्स तो एंड यूजर्स बहुत ही स्ट्रांग एग्रेसिव में. डू यू सी इन रेसिडेंशियल the investors coming back in the market and helping the developers in certain way?
संतोष जी, अभी देखने जाएं तो जिस तरह से हम रेसिडेंशियल मार्केट देख रहे हैं, वो सही बात है आपकी कि ये अभी रिस्क का ही मार्केट है, और इसमें जो इन्वेस्टर्स मुनाफा आगे देखते थे, वो मुनाफा अब इसमें इसलिए नहीं रहा है क्योंकि सबसे पहली बात, हम स्पेशली गुजरात मार्केट की करें और गुजरात में भी अहमदाबाद की करें, तो अब जो लैंड का कॉस्टिंग आ रहा है और जो हम मटेरियल्स परचेज कर रहे हैं, तो जो कॉस्टिंग बेस बन रहा है, उस कॉस्टिंग बेस में अब इन्वेस्टर्स का प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी काफी लो, या हम कहें कि नील बैठ रहा है. इस बेस पे इन्वेस्टर्स को अब इंटरेस्ट नहीं है कि वो रियल एस्टेट में, रेसिडेंशियल मार्केट में अपना मुनाफा कमा सके. दूसरा सबसे बड़ा चीज है कि इन्वेस्टर्स के लिए आज सबसे बड़ा अपॉर्चुनिटी आ रहा है, जो अहमदाबाद और जो भी मेट्रो सिटीज गुजरात के हैं, उससे करीबन 25-30 किलोमीटर वो आगे जा रहा है, अपना पैसा जमीनों लगा रहा है, और रेसिडेंशियल में जो मुनाफा कमा रहा है उससे कई गुना मुनाफा उसको जो है जमीनों से मिल रहा है. दूसरी बात करें कि अभी कॉमर्शियल मार्केट भी उनके लिए, इन्वेस्टर्स के लिए ठंडा पड़ा हुआ है. तो कॉमर्शियल और रेसिडेंशियल मार्केट आज की तारीख में गुजरात में देखने जाए तो इन्वेस्टर्स के लिए सही मात्रा में हम ठंडा ही वर्ड यूज करेंगे. तो इन्वेस्टर आज जो है रेसिडेंशियल मार्केट में, आपकी बात बिल्कुल सही है कि वो गायब हुआ दिख रहा है हमको.
ठीक है Rocky, you also run a fund, Rocky, and low interest rate has helped the residential demand to remain buoyant in the last 2-3 years. Do you foresee the interest rates are going to go up? And if it is going to go up, do you see the demand for the residentials remain intact, or it will have an impact on the demand side?
So, Santosh, interest have direct correlation marketplace. What happens is, though we don't have 20-year and 30-year fixed loans like we have of the world. In most year reset loans, it's at between 7.5%.
Rocky, you're on mute. Yeah.
Sorry, did I?
No, if you can repeat, yeah.
So, Santosh, interest rates and in the residential marketplace, you know, the interest rates are at 50. So that has raised to an extent whatever we see in the market in the economy has done as well last years, but we are seeing a stable demand in residential. That is the result of low interest rates. Had these interest rates been up even 100 or 150 basis points higher than what they are, we would see a substantial dip in the demand or uptake in from the current levels. That is my thought on the interest rates. The second question you asked is, are the interest rates going to stay low or go high? I think for the next 12 months, if one has to predict, I think the interest rates have no scope to go up. They will either stay here or go down by 25 to 50 basis points as far as home loan is concerned. Because there is an amazing amount of liquidity in the banking system. And this being a priority sector, this being a safe lending, asset class for the banks, which they call it retail loans. The cars and the homes have the least default rates in this country for whatever reasons that we can discuss. But they feel very comfortable in lending 60, 70, 80% loan to value ratios. They don't pay the other charges, which are very high. The taxation is not covered in the home loan. The taxation alone is about 20%. That is not the indirect taxation, is not covered. So at the lower loan to value with a 70, 80% lower value and at 7.5% interest rates, this is really helping the market to stay where it is. Otherwise, it will dip. Did I answer your two questions?
Yeah, absolutely, Rocky. I think this is a great news for the consumers, the customers who would be looking at buying the apartments, especially high-rise apartments. There are people who are on the verge of taking the decisions whether to buy or not, because the people are expecting that interest rates are going to go up because inflation is going up, and people believe that there is a correlation between inflation and the interest rate. So it's great to hear, and the rationale which you had given, I think seems to be very valid reasons, Rocky, why interest rate will not be going up. So it's great to hear. So Patel Saab, just coming back, since work from home has become normal, and we still believe that even if the situation becomes normal, still we feel 20-25% of people will not go to the office because there is going to be a hybrid model, and maybe 60% of the people may go back to home. But since you have been a town planner, you come from a architectural background, Patel Saab, do you see any kind of a changes going forward, the way the houses being designed in India? आपको लगता है कि पटेल साहब के कोई चेंजेस आने वाले, ड्रास्टिक चेंजेस आने वाले डिजाइन में? आप म्यूट पे हो, पटेल साहब म्यूट पे हो आप.
Yes, Santosh ji, basically if you talk about the new normal, the people, those who were buying an affordable house with a optimistic square feet, now they have changed themselves. Now they need at least one study room where their kids can have online classes or he can have work from home. Similarly, in pandemic condition, they also demand a semi-open area where people can relax during the lockdown or in pandemic condition. They also now much interested in light and ventilation. So if you go 2-3 decades before, at that time, there was a concept of southwest wind direction and light and ventilation, but it has been reduced in last 20 years. But pandemic, new normal has suggested that the light and ventilation is one of the criteria, semi-open spaces are one of the criteria. Then people, instead of erecting a lift with the 18 or a 15% passenger capacity, they are going for, instead of 2 lifts, they are going for 4 lifts with a smaller capacity. So at micro architectural level, there are a number of the changes has been done. Similarly, particularly for affordable class, in one of our projects, we have given a working cubicle. Working cubicle, so my resident can go. So like earlier in the clubhouse, we were providing the gymnasiums and blah, blah, number of the activities. But now, one of the trend has come up. We are giving a cubicle which have a excellent connectivity, excellent audio visual, and having acoustical comfort. So such changes I have seen, and in few of the projects which has been launched in last 1 year, the architectural design, wind directions, the semi-open spaces, all has been improved, and it has, the customer also now realized. So this is the new trend has been emerged, Santosh.
Yeah, but Patel sir, are you making these changes or, the new features which you are developing, they are in the existing development or is it in the new launches?
Basically, we try to little things get the old launches where we have a restrictions, the plan and RERA and other registration has been done. So in that cases, we try to accommodate few business cubicles at the club level also. But of course, in all new projects, we see that at least there should be more than a dozen business cubicle having seamless connectivity, having good acoustics, and having proper lighting and other things. Santosh.
Okay, thank you. And Pawanji, last question to you, Pawanji. There are new ways of marketing is coming up. When you are launching a project, you like to sell it as fast as quickly as possible. Pawanji, post pandemic, what are some of the new innovations which you are seeing or implementing while marketing your projects in Ahmedabad?
I think virtual walkthroughs are kind of, a major thing. But at the end of the day, for most middle income and upper middle and lower middle people, this is the biggest investment that they are ever, or the biggest expense that they're ever going to incur in their lives, buying a home. So they would still like to come and see the homes physically, feel the neighborhood, get the vibrations and all of that. So I think that's, that's going to be supplementary. I don't think that's going to be a sufficient condition, these tools, unless of course, the tools develop, they become much more tactile. We can replicate the sounds, the look and feel, the smells, and all of that. And that technology is several years, in the future. But till such time, people are going to actually come and take a buying decision. It's okay for a farmhouse project. It's more like an investment. It's not their primary residence. So we have seen that happening. People do that, virtual tour. But, for middle-income homes, affordable housing projects, very, very few people we have seen take a buying decision or take a call just based on a virtual tour.
Okay, thank you, Pawanji. So my final question to all the panelists, very quick answers from each one of you. How bullish you are about the residential, demand, and secondly, how long it's going to sustain. If quick answers can be provided, each one of you. Maybe Rocky, you can start. Rocky, mute. Rocky, please unmute.
Demand, interest rate is generating demand. So if you're paying 7% interest, 7%, so essentially 0% real interest rate, there can be better time to buy. So I'm bullish on residential demand with the population growth of urbanization and keep expanding the infrastructure that we needed.
And how long it will last, Rocky?
It's a part. This is going to go on for a long time.
Kamal?
Absolutely bullish. Best time to buy for the buyers and best time for the sellers to sell. I mean, if the price is right, if the product is right, and if the positioning is right, I think all these 3 P's are right. The market is infinite. I'm very bullish about it.
Great. Parasji, क्या आपका take है, sir?
बिल्कुल संतोष जी, 20 साल में पहली बार ऐसा आया है कि ये टाइम में बिल्डर खुश है, बायर खुश है, बैंक खुश है, सप्लायर खुश है, कॉन्ट्रैक्टर खुश है। मेरे ख्याल से कि ऐसा समय ये सदी का पहली बार है और शायद कस्टमर के बारे में भी सबसे ज्यादा खुश है। तो मैं बोलता हूँ इट्स अ बेस्ट अपॉर्चुनिटी एंड लास्ट अपॉर्चुनिटी।
Very nice. Patel sir, you are
yes. As Rocky said, the home loan rates are low. In particularly Gujarat, especially in Ahmedabad, the FSI has been increased in last 3-4 years. There are chances of putting TDR. So in that case, you are reducing the land prices.
Absolutely.
And the projects still, the developers are not putting their much profit on the cost. And that's why this is the best optimum price, particularly from affordable house to a high-end apartment. So this is a very appropriate price, and the customer should go on it. And I see at least for another 2 to 3 years, this demand will be there. Thank you, Santosh.
Pawanji?
Yeah, I think, especially given the low interest rates, and we have been telling this in many forums, even hosted by the government over the last 20 years, that high interest rates are a major impediment. And finally they have, the sweet spot according to me is 5%. And with the subsidy, with the subvention for affordable housing, they are almost there. So I think once the confidence comes back in the minds of the customer that he or she is going to retain his or her job, and would have no difficulty in paying the EMIs, and which might take another 6 months once more vaccination is in place, and people realize that there is not going to be any 4th wave or 5th wave, and their jobs are going to be there and not vanish. I think we are going to see an upswing in buying.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, Pawanji. I think with the RERA stepping in, and also government is also taking various initiatives, I do see, real estate, and especially the residential real estate going to remain strong. With that note, I would like to end this session. Thank you so much for all your inputs. I think we touched upon various aspects of residential real estate, and all of you have given, such a wonderful answers to these questions. I do hope that this would have helped the audience to take very affirmative decisions. Over to you, Sapna. Thank you so much once again, everyone. Maybe there could be some questions from the audience.
Yeah, I think, Santosh, you agree. We couldn't have asked for a better start to this conclave, with all our speakers so optimistic about it, the entire scenario and positive sentiments that we have got from everyone. We'll just take one question. One of our audiences asked that, with offices and retail, a lot of people said we'll go back to work. There'll be revenge shopping that we will see in coming years. With residential, are these trends short term? such as, going to peripheral areas, going to tier 2 cities in terms of the size of the houses. Is this a short-term trend for another 1 or 2 years, or is this going to stay here?
Rocky, would you like to answer? Rocky?
Sure. So what happens is every time when cities grow, they won't shrink in size. Sometimes you understand it. Okay. So what has happened to the tertiaries of the city? The only density keeps increasing every decade of the density of next into the city or the infrastructure that gets built. Horizontal development is 10, 15, 25 kilometers. We're discussing. And what's going to happen is in the next decade, density 20 kilometers per city, the development is going to go from there. That's what's going to happen.
Okay. So we are looking at a trend where cities are going to expand now, and we see more urbanization probably now in tier 2 cities as well. So thank you so much. I think we had a wonderful discussion. Santosh, thank you for so well moderating this entire discussion and getting the best from our eminent speakers here. Thanks, Mr. N.K. Patel, for joining and giving us the design aspect view on this entire discussion. Thanks, Mr. Rocky Israni, Mr. Kamal Singhal, Mr. Pawan Bakeri, and Mr. Paras Pandit, हमारे साथ यहाँ आने के लिए, sharing your views and opinion, and giving this information and informative and very interesting session.